How you doing? How you doing? And how you doing, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Petty, and it is very good to say all of those words in that order once again. So I do apologize. It has been a little while since we've had a face-to-face like this. I miss you. I hope you're doing good. You're looking real cute today. I know it's been a little while, and I've missed you all very, very dearly. But I felt really required to come back and do a video on this because, as of today, we have been invited to the closed beta test for Noah's Heart. If that's a game you're unfamiliar with, it is essentially the spiritual successor to Dragon Raja, which for those of you that have been around on the channel for a while or coming back for the first time in a very long time because we've spoken those words again, it was a game that really made my channel successful early on and got me like 2 to 3K of my like 5K subscribers. So I will always have a huge love for the Dragon Raja community. One of the things that I missed the most about covering Dragon Raja back in my early days was it connected me to a huge international community that my poor ass would not have ever been able to interact with otherwise. And it was incredibly awesome to be able to do content for all those wonderful people. So all my Dragon Raja homies, I know it's been a little while. Still love you, dog. Still miss you guys. I hope you all doing good. So let's go ahead and get into the game itself. There are a lot of pretty things in this game. If you are familiar with Dragon Raja, this shouldn't surprise you. It was one of the most beautiful games that you could get on phones, hands down. I have, to this day, seen very little games that have come to that close quality utilizing the Unreal Engine that they did. It was an amazing looking game, just mwah, absolutely beautiful. But there were some places where it fell short, where the combat felt really stale, and there was a lack of depth of gameplay. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are probably curious as if Noah's Heart has solved this problem. And it kind of has, and kind of hasn't. So, real fast, I just want to make it super clear that I have only reached level 30 so far in the closed beta test. I am not sure what the level cap is, but as far as the things that I can see unlock, 60 is when I unlock the last thing that is locked by level itself. So I'm going to assume that we're roughly in the halfway point, though there is the chance that they do the Dragon Raja route, and you just keep going up in levels forever. Every time they drop a patch, they're like, alright, here's another 10, 20 levels. And that's just that. So levels might not mean a whole lot, but I wanted to wade into a decent portion of the game before trying to give you guys any of my thoughts and feelings on it. Now, there is some really interesting and incredible stuff in here. There are still some concerns about a lack of gameplay. There is... And I'm hoping that this is something that is hyper-specific to early on in the game when they're trying to introduce a bunch of things to you. But it's kind of just a one-track roller coaster where they occasionally do a QuickTime event and have you click on a button. That's kind of it. Now, this is a closed beta test, and it is not a finished product. So there are several cases when I was playing where it would seem like, oh, I should have control of this system. And there was no control. For anyone that's played WoW, there was an instance when they were like, oh, fly up on this thing and throw bombs down at these guys. Don't worry, we'll make little circles so you see where you're throwing your bombs. And you're like, oh, cool, a bombing mission. I remember these. And then you can't move the bombing thing around at all. That's probably a closed beta test bug and is going to be fixed by the live game. So I'm hoping that some of the things that seem like they have a lot of potential to introduce great gameplay are just being limited right now due to it being a closed beta test. We're hoping. Lot of hoping on that one. One of the things that I'm kind of excited about to see how deep this system goes is gonna be our gacha system. Now, this works in a little bit of a strange way. We have these phantoms, they want to call them, and these guys are going to be out in your party when you are fighting stuff, kind of like a Final Fantasy deal, So, unlike a game like Genshin Impact, where you are switching between your different party members to do stuff, these guys are kind of just out loud and proud the entire time, swinging their stuff, casting their spells, doing their thing. But what the really interesting part is, so if you essentially possess one of these people, or they possess you, I'm not really sure which direction the possession is going in, you essentially pick up these special skills from them. And it's kind of sweet. So this chick that I happen to get out of the free summons creates a shield that when that shield is active, it's not only blocking damage, but it's also increasing my elemental damage by 20%. Now, should I be possessing this person myself? No. I should probably have them just on the team so that when they cast their spell, I can have another ally as my person and be able to do sick nasty damage with their special skills. But the fact that you are getting skills from these champions that work into your active combat, I like that. That's interesting. How that's going to interact in the deeper game once you start building these people out more and the kind of teams that you can build, I'm interested to see what direction that takes. But all of our Dragon Raja people are pretty familiar with the fact that towards the end game, it's like, all right, there's 4 golden people you'll probably have to have, and using anything else will be trash. It's kind of how that goes. But I like that they took the same system that they had before, where these people were giving you passive advantages, and built onto it and made them not only an active part of combat, but an active part of your controls and builds, giving you these special skills to use while you are fighting. That's awesome. That sounds like a great time. Good decisions all around. I hope that this system lives up to the potential that you see when you're first looking at it. You know what I mean? Because again, I want to preface a lot of this with we're only 30 levels in. We've got some high hopes, but there's still some reasons to be concerned. One of the things that really isn't apparent yet in the game is what the monetization is going to look like and how much it's going to mirror what we saw in Dragon Raja, where every system in which you can spend money will stack up passive attribute points, slowly making you into a god, but making the, spending money power creep so ridiculously overscaled that, if you're paying to play this game, no one that's not paying is going to have any fun playing with you. So we're on the lookout for that to be happening again. Now, from what I've seen so far in the closed beta test, is a lot of the monetization stuff isn't available, or I haven't unlocked it yet and some of that stuff is coming out closer to 60. It's hard to tell. These stupid gambling events are going to be a thing in this game too. As you can see this way, apparently. Yeah, camera's apparently making me, this is my right. Or left. Recording stuff's confusing. But we can see that they have this essentially like, hey, gamble for some rewards out of this, and then there's a progression system to that, like it's an actual event that you're taking part of, and it's not just like, I don't know, one of those cards that they just keep clipping every time you're coming, and you eventually get a free sundae after spending $70. So be careful of stuff like this. The fact that this is already something that's visible is telling me that those type of events, and they're not even events, they're sales that they try to dress up as events with gamba elements and these Fox kind of rewards for taking part in them. So, that'll be a thing. So I'm personally not expecting the pay-to-win model or the monetization model in general to be any really improved from Dragon Raja, which was one of my main complaints, but honestly wasn't my biggest one. Let's check something real quick. Do we? Oh my god. All right, we have actual percentages for our attributes. For anyone that's confused as to why I'm so confused right now, in Dragon Raja, they never told us what our crit rate percentage chance was or any of that. They were just numbers that you would endlessly dump those stats into without ever really knowing what any of them were doing and how it was affecting your gameplay. We are seeing hardcore percentages right here. I didn't even think to check this before we recorded a video, but we're seeing actual numbers about our actual stats and what they're doing within our build. That makes me immeasurably happy, because one of the biggest things about Dragon Raja was there was so much information obfuscation to where it was hard to know what things actually did and what stuff mattered or helped or just really anything at all. That so much of our analysis of the game was left up to speculation. And it's not like it was just because we were bad and lazy and there was no information out there. Information was intentionally kind of shrouded because it made the treadmill work easier. It's easier to keep the hamster running if they think all of those things are doing stuff. Keeping those systems vague, it was a way to make people end up having to spend more when they build things incorrectly because the information wasn't clear to begin with. And it also allows them to hide things like the power creep. If we could easily look at someone and be like, oh, okay, so a normal person's crit rate is 15%, but someone that spends a couple $100s on the game is averaging around 60% crit rate, then we know exactly how unbalanced the scales are. Information in RPGs is one of the most important things because of how it affects gameplay, how it affects your real numbers and your time spent in that game. So when games withhold important information, especially in an RPG, that sends up a lot of red flags. And that was one of the bigger issues I had with Dragon Raja after I had covered it for 4 or 5 months, was it felt like I was trying to constantly unravel a mystery game that was a mystery game for no reason. They could have given us that information. They could have told us what our crit stats were actually doing instead of just being like, well, you have 3,600 crit. Yeah, it's a lot, I think. So I'm excited to see that they have really flushed out their stats and that stuff is going to matter. So if you were one of those people that one of your favorite things about Dragon Raja was the story, how almost soap opera-ish that it was, but it was an interesting and intriguing story. They did an amazing job of world building and getting you excited about this, like, you know, college of, like, X-Men students, basically. And all of the drama going around with all the dragon stuff. It was really, really, really cool. One of my top 3 things probably about that game was the level of detail that went into the story, that went into the characters, that went into the expressions. None of that is something I feel is in this game whatsoever. I played for like 3 hours at this point and cannot tell you more than maybe 2 characters' names. A lot of the actors and kind of dialogue scenes feel really meh. Like the characters aren't even looking at each other. Like, say there's 3 people standing here all talking to the guy in the middle. The 2 people on the outside will just be like, or just pick one direction that is completely away from the person they're talking to and just talk at like a brick wall or something, because they're not looking at any of the elements in the scene. So some of that stuff feels really weird when you think about how personal all of the story felt in Dragon Raja, and this feels super kind of generic, and you don't really have any understanding of the world or any of that fun stuff. You get to see some really pretty things, but you also get rushed along so quickly that it doesn't really feel like you're in a world until you get into your 20s. Before that, it's the, you know, just roller coaster going in a straight line, and oh, there's a fun part, wee, except the wee is we just clicked a button while a movie played, and then the movie unpaused and continued playing after we hit the successful button. I'm just not a fan of of that element really at all. But all of that being said, we we kind of have jetpacks. You can only fly straight up in the air with it, and then you can start controlling and guiding your way down. Like, look, we're flying, wee! But in terms of controlling that said jetpack that we just used, no. It just shoots us straight up into the air, stops us at that point, and then we can use our rocket wings. So that's almost a little bit of a miss for me. I wish that if you were going to give us a jetpack, let us have a jetpack that we can really use. We also have a grappling hook. So, like, I'm not complaining that hard because there's some actually pretty cool mechanical stuff that they put into this. But that was something that they did in Dragon Raja as well, as far as cool movement effects, but those effects all feeling very clunky. So, again, we have some cool movement stuff in this, but she a little rough. She a little rough. But all in all, I will say that there are a lot of things that I'm enjoying so far in this, and I'm excited to keep pushing into the game. I just wanted to go ahead and record a video and kind of give my initial thoughts and show you guys a few special things in here. So we might do some live streams of us playing this over the next couple of days while the game is still in the closed beta test, and we might do some more videos on it as we understand more about the game. And really my drive for that is to just kind of help out the Dragon Raja homies that supported my channel for so very long. No part of me is really interested in continuing to cover mobile game projects. I've been doing a lot of other creative projects with some other streamers, some other YouTube creators, and I'm finding much more joy in those creative processes, and either doing stuff behind the scenes or helping support events or helping put stuff together for people. I'm also editing for another YouTube channel, the Squabbleheads, right now, and we're about to start doing some animation stuff. I've got 3/4 of a video for that done. We just need a couple of more elements to be finished and then for me to animate that stuff in. And we're going to be dropping animated videos on that channel as well. So your boy's been gone for a while, but it's because I've been busy doing other creative things, and I'm not sure still what to do with my YouTube channel at the moment. So we'll see. But I had to do this for the Dragon Raja homies 100%. I miss you guys. I love you guys. I hope you're doing good. And yeah, I'll probably see you guys either in a live stream in the next couple of days or on another video covering some stuff from the Noah's Heart closed beta test. Thank you so much for stopping by today. I really appreciate them faces. And you have to catch your boy in the next one, because we out of here. Deuces. It was so fun to say that again.